Sony Color Video Cassette is simply a reel-to-reel tape cassette.
Introduces its computer to go, the PC 5000.
Introducing the new IBM Electronics 75.
The 1970s were a decade of bold experimentation, where inventors and companies pushed the boundaries of technology, dreaming of a future filled with convenience and excitement. Yet, not every innovation found its audience. From flashy gadgets and ambitious home computers to quirky wearables and futuristic video systems, many products promised the world but delivered frustration instead. So, join us as we explore 25 innovative tech products from the 1970s that failed miserably.
The telephone of tomorrow at the Western Electronics Convention in San Francisco. It's the often forecast video phone.
In an era when the very idea of seeing someone while talking seemed futuristic, AT&T introduced the picture phone, promising the marvel of live video calls. Priced at a staggering $160 per month, it was beyond the reach of most consumers, making it more of a novelty than a practical communication tool. The cumbersome design, which required dedicated wiring and awkward camera placement, made conversations feel unnatural. Offices experimented with the system, but even corporate users struggled to justify the cost and effort. Despite significant media attention, the picture phone's combination of high price, limited infrastructure, and social awkwardness doomed it to obscurity, leaving it as a cautionary tale in communication technology history. If video calls proved too expensive and awkward for everyday use, could capturing moving images instantly fare any better?
To the box. Now, wouldn't that be something? Well, it is something. Polavision, Polaroids, instant movies. Seconds after you shoot, you've got it.
When Polaroid tried to reinvent home movies, the Polar Vision emerged with grand ambitions but quickly flopped. This instant movie camera captured moments on film that developed immediately, echoing the success of Polaroid's instant photos. However, the lack of sound and poor image quality severely undermined its appeal. Users found the footage grainy and unwatchable, and the camera itself was bulky and awkward to handle. Coupled with a high price tag and limited recording length, it struggled to attract even loyal Polaroid fans. Despite marketing campaigns and initial curiosity, the Polar Vision failed to find a foothold, becoming an obscure example of a company overreaching its technological capabilities.
Sony Color Video Cassette is simply a reel-to-reel tape cassette. Same principle as the audio tape cassette you've used for years, but this one holds anywhere from a few minutes to a full hour.
Sony's U-matic format promised to revolutionize home entertainment by introducing video cassettes, yet it failed to capture the consumer market. Released in 1971, it was the first widely available video cassette system, but its bulky machines, high cost, and limited recording time made it impractical for everyday users. U-matic found a niche in professional and educational settings, yet as VHS and Betamax emerged, it quickly fell behind. The cassettes were expensive, the devices required specialized maintenance, and the consumer market found better alternatives elsewhere. Despite being technologically groundbreaking, Sony's U-matic became a footnote in video history, remembered more for its ambition than for any lasting commercial success. In an ambitious bid to bring Hollywood into living rooms, Cartravision launched as the first home video system with rental cartridges, allowing consumers to borrow films without leaving their couch. Despite the novelty, the system was plagued by poor marketing and an overcomplicated setup that frustrated users. Cartravision machines were expensive, and the rental process lacked clarity, leaving many unsure how to operate or return tapes. Additionally, the catalog of available films was limited, reducing its practical appeal. Retailers struggled to promote it, and technical issues such as tape degradation and hardware malfunctions further discouraged buyers. Ultimately, Cartravision disappeared from the market within a year, remembered as a bold but doomed experiment in home entertainment.
Pioneer combination CD Laserdisc player. With a 60% sharper picture than most VCRs.
When Laserdisc arrived in 1978, it promised cinema-quality video and superior audio, positioning itself as the next step in home entertainment. Early adopters marveled at the clarity of picture and sound compared to VHS or Betamax. Yet, its high price, both for players and discs, kept it out of reach for most consumers. Laserdisc could not also record, a feature that VHS offered, making it less versatile. The large, fragile discs were cumbersome to store, and the limited titles offered little incentive for purchase. Despite technological superiority, Laserdisc remained a niche product for collectors and cinephiles, ultimately overshadowed by more affordable, recordable formats, cementing its status as a commercial failure. If high-quality video struggled to find a mass audience, could enhancing audio with 4-channel quadraphonic systems captivate the public? The 1970s saw audio enthusiasts dreaming of being enveloped in sound, and quadraphonic systems promised exactly that with 4-channel audio. Manufacturers like Sansui and RCA pushed the technology, claiming it would revolutionize music listening. However, the confusing variety of formats, QS, SQ, CD4, made compatibility a nightmare for consumers. Amplifiers and speaker setups were expensive, complicated, and space-consuming. Albums had to be specially encoded, and the lack of standardization meant many records didn't work as intended. While audiophiles experimented with the immersive experience, mainstream adoption faltered. Despite producing impressive sound for those who could navigate the complexity, quadraphonic audio ultimately became a cautionary tale of innovation ahead of practical market demand.
Never be the same again. Introducing the new IBM Electronic 75 typewriter. It really works for you. Automatically it underlines and centers.
Long before personal computers were household staples, the TV typewriter emerged as an early attempt to merge computing with everyday electronics. Designed as a home computer terminal, it allowed users to input text and display it on a television screen, offering a glimpse of the digital future. Yet, its appeal remained niche. Hobbyists and tech enthusiasts experimented, but the general public found it confusing and limited in functionality. The system lacked processing power, storage options, and easy-to-use software, making practical applications minimal. While it influenced the development of home computing and demonstrated the potential of integrating computers with TVs, the TV typewriter never achieved mainstream success, fading into obscurity as more accessible computers arrived later in the decade.
77 Ford Pinto.
With his new optional glass hatchback, exciting new front-end styling, and his new flip-up removable roof option.
When Ford released the Pinto in the early 1970s, it wasn't just marketed as a compact car for budget-conscious Americans. It was also loaded with flashy dash-mounted tech gadgets meant to make it feel futuristic. These included quirky add-ons like digital-style clocks, primitive warning lights, and early stereo systems designed to give the driver a high-tech vibe. Unfortunately, these gimmicks were poorly executed and often malfunctioned, making the Pinto feel more like a toy than a reliable car. Worse, the car's reputation was destroyed by its infamous safety issues, especially the tendency of its fuel tank to rupture in rear-end collisions. No gadget could distract consumers from the very real danger the vehicle posed. What Ford thought would be a selling point instead became a forgotten footnote in one of the biggest automotive disasters of the decade.
Truck, the cameraman places a rechargeable battery into the color camera backpack unit. This unit supplies up to 3 hours of power for the camera.
The 1970s revolutionized broadcast journalism with the introduction of electronic news gathering cameras, designed to bring live news closer to viewers. These cameras allowed field reporting without the delays of film processing, promising faster, more dynamic news coverage. Yet, their weight and bulk made them extremely cumbersome for reporters, and the heavy batteries limited mobility in fast-moving situations. Power-hungry electronics frequently failed in the field, and setup times were long, frustrating crews under tight deadlines. Despite being a technological leap forward for television news, ENG cameras were impractical for widespread adoption initially. While they laid the groundwork for future lightweight, portable cameras, the early models were largely inaccessible and inefficient for everyday news reporting. If field cameras proved heavy and power-hungry, could digital text services over television simplify and speed access to information?
For me, the advantage of teletext was absolutely obvious, because being a presenter on Radio 1, I had to travel a lot around the United Kingdom and also work some pretty weird hours, either late nights or early mornings.
Teletext, introduced in the 1970s, represented an ambitious attempt to deliver digital information through television screens, offering news, weather, and stock updates at the push of a button. The concept excited engineers and broadcasters, promising a new era of on-demand content. However, slow transmission speeds and limited interactivity frustrated users, making navigation tedious and unappealing. The technology required specialized decoders or compatible TVs, increasing costs and complicating adoption. Moreover, the limited range of content and unattractive text-based interface could not compete with emerging media formats. Despite its visionary approach, teletext struggled to find mainstream appeal, becoming a niche curiosity that highlighted both the promise and pitfalls of early digital information systems.
This morning.
This promotional film, made in the mid-70s to flaunt Xerox PARC research, shows just how revolutionary the Alto was.
In 1973, Xerox unveiled the Alto, a computer that looked decades ahead of its time. Featuring the first graphical user interface, a mouse, and a bitmapped display, it introduced concepts that would later define personal computing. Despite its revolutionary design, the Alto was never sold commercially. It was confined to research labs and Xerox offices. The hardware was expensive, complex, and impractical for mass production, limiting its impact to a small circle of engineers. However, the ideas it pioneered inspired the future of computing, influencing Apple's Lisa and Macintosh, Microsoft Windows, and countless interfaces. The Alto's failure was not a technological one, but a commercial misstep that left a visionary product largely unseen by the general public.
Introduces its computer to go, the PC 5000.
That Sharp may have a printer, but it can't possibly have 128K power like my desktop IBM.
Sure.
When IBM launched the 5100 in 1975, it marked one of the earliest attempts at a portable computer, compact enough to be moved around offices but powerful enough to run scientific and business applications. However, the $20,000 plus price tag made it unattainable for most organizations and individuals. While technologically impressive, offering features like APL and BASIC programming languages, it was overshadowed by later, more affordable personal computers. Its portability was limited by its weight, over 50 pounds, and lack of expandability. Though hailed as a marvel of engineering, the IBM 5100 remained a niche product, demonstrating that being first doesn't guarantee market success in a rapidly evolving industry. When high-cost portability limited IBM 5100's reach, could the first microprocessor-based computers create a new wave of accessible computing? The Micro N, released in 1973, holds the distinction of being the first commercially available microprocessor-based computer. Designed for industrial and scientific applications, it offered unprecedented computing power in a compact format. Yet, despite its innovation, it failed to capture widespread attention. Apple and Commodore, emerging later in the decade, provided more user-friendly machines with better marketing, capturing the imagination of hobbyists and small businesses. The Micro N remained largely a tool for specialized applications, lacking the accessibility and appeal necessary for mass adoption. While it played a crucial role in the evolution of microcomputers, the Micro N is remembered more as a technical milestone than a commercial success. Hewlett-Packard's 9830A, introduced in 1972, was a desktop programmable calculator designed for engineers, scientists, and business professionals. It offered powerful computation capabilities, including basic programming and memory storage, allowing users to automate complex tasks. However, its niche appeal limited its commercial success. The device was expensive, and most consumers lacked the technical expertise to leverage its full potential. Its size and specialized functionality prevented it from becoming a mainstream home or office tool, and it was soon overshadowed by more accessible personal computers. Despite its technical brilliance, the HP 9830A became a symbol of early computing's struggle, advanced innovation that failed to resonate with a broader audience.
Running your own business, you've got to give it your best. And that means personal computers from Digital for extensive business software, graphics, communications, and a revolutionary customer support plan.
The early 1970s saw a surge in experimental computing interfaces, and the VT05 terminal by Digital Equipment Corporation, DEC, was one of the pioneers. Introduced as a video display terminal for mini-computers, it allowed users to interact with machines via a screen rather than punch cards. While revolutionary for its time, the VT05 suffered from limited graphics capabilities and slow refresh rates, making complex applications frustrating. Its appeal was confined to research labs and specialized industrial environments. The terminal's technical constraints and high cost prevented widespread adoption in offices or homes. Despite these limitations, the VT05 influenced the design of future DEC terminals, laying the groundwork for more versatile human-computer interaction systems.
20, micro eclipse. Yeah, well, it's very much kind of like that, except rack mount system.
Data General's Nova 2, an enhanced version of the original Nova minicomputer, emerged in the early 1970s as a compact, powerful solution for laboratories and small businesses. Praised for its reliability and performance in scientific and engineering applications, it became a favorite among technical professionals. However, the Nova 2 lacked mass-market appeal due to its niche targeting and steep price, which prevented widespread adoption outside specialized sectors. Unlike consumer-oriented computers that followed, it required significant expertise to operate effectively. Though commercially limited, the Nova 2 played an important role in the evolution of mini-computers, demonstrating that technical excellence alone could not guarantee market success without broader accessibility and a marketing strategy. The Busicom LE120, a calculator released in the early 1970s, holds a unique place in computing history as the first device to incorporate Intel's 4004 microprocessor. While the chip itself became legendary, the calculator failed commercially due to high costs, limited functionality, and lack of consumer awareness. The LE120A was a sophisticated tool for engineers and accountants, but for the general public, it offered little practical advantage over more affordable alternatives. Its bulky design and unfamiliar interface further hindered adoption. Despite its commercial failure, the Busicom LE120A is historically significant for pioneering microprocessor use in consumer electronics, laying the foundation for the explosion of personal computing later in the decade. If early microprocessor calculators failed commercially, how did unusual lifestyle gadgets like sauna hot pants attempt to capitalize on technological fascination?
Introducing the revolutionary sauna pants, the at-home sauna experience that you can enjoy when you want to and where you want to.
The 1970s embraced bizarre health fads, and sauna hot pants were among the most peculiar. Marketed as a revolutionary way to shed pounds by targeting fat through localized heat, these pants promised effortless weight loss while sitting at home. The reality, however, was far from the claims. Users found the heat insufficient, uncomfortable, and largely ineffective, with no measurable results. The device was bulky, sweaty, and impractical for regular use. Fitness experts quickly dismissed it as a gimmick, yet its outrageous claims and strange appearance made it a cultural talking point. Today, sauna hot pants are remembered less for any health benefits and more as an example of eccentric 1970s wellness trends gone wrong.
You are about to witness the most amazing man-made jewelry ever created. The original multicolor mood ring. This is the ring that senses your deepest feelings.
In 1975, mood rings captured the imagination of teenagers and novelty seekers worldwide. These rings contained thermochromic liquid crystals that changed color, supposedly reflecting the wearer's emotional state. While the concept seemed innovative, the technology was superficial and inconsistent, with colors often shifting due to temperature rather than genuine mood. The fad skyrocketed in popularity, appearing in gift shops and fashion magazines, but interest quickly waned as consumers realized the novelty had little practical value. Mood rings became symbolic of fleeting 1970s trends, visually appealing, fun, but ultimately meaningless. Despite their rapid disappearance from mainstream fashion, they remain iconic of the decade's quirky experimentation with combining technology and lifestyle accessories.
This is the newest way to tell the time. The Black Watch, developed in Britain by Sinclair.
The early LED digital watches of the 1970s represented a leap from traditional analog timepieces, showcasing futuristic displays and flashy technology. Yet, these first-generation watches were plagued by practical problems. The LED screens consumed batteries rapidly, requiring frequent replacements, and the displays were often difficult to read in normal lighting conditions. Their futuristic appearance could not compensate for the inconvenience and unreliability, making them less appealing to everyday users. Furthermore, their high cost limited accessibility, confining adoption to tech enthusiasts and early adopters. Despite their commercial failure, these digital watches laid the groundwork for future wearable technology, proving that even flawed first attempts can inspire innovations in consumer electronics.
The inner plaque power toothbrush fights gum disease by deep cleaning teeth, nearly plaque-free, and 20 clinical studies prove it cleans better than ordinary brushing.
The 1970s also saw the introduction of the first electric toothbrushes in the U.S., designed to modernize oral hygiene. Early models promised efficiency and convenience, but reality fell short. Weak motors failed to deliver a satisfying clean, and poor battery life made them inconvenient for regular use. Additionally, the brushes were bulky, and their design was unappealing compared to standard manual toothbrushes. Consumers often abandoned them after limited trial periods, and market penetration remained low. Despite the initial commercial failure, these early electric toothbrushes laid the foundation for future models with improved performance, longer battery life, and ergonomic designs. They are remembered as a case of early innovation struggling to meet practical consumer expectations. If automated cleaning devices struggled commercially, could combining timekeeping and calculation in a wristwatch succeed with consumers?
So revolutionary that it goes beyond time. Introducing the Multicron 20-function calculator watch.
In 1975, Pulsar aimed to merge timekeeping and computing into a single device with its calculator watch, priced at an eye-watering $3,950. The concept seemed futuristic, a wristwatch capable of performing basic calculations on the go. However, the tiny buttons made input awkward, and the interface was confusing, frustrating users trying to perform even simple calculations. Its high cost put it out of reach for most consumers, while the novelty value quickly faded. Though technologically impressive for the era, the Pulsar calculator watch failed to balance innovation with usability. Today, it is remembered as a collector's curiosity and an ambitious yet impractical attempt to digitize convenience.
This is for my grandson, who slept on a large rock about that big for years. Don't you think he deserves it?
The pet rock craze of the mid-1970s inspired an even stranger offshoot, the electronic pet rock in 1978. This blinking, battery-powered rock attempted to digitize a fad that had been wildly popular in its original, inanimate form. Unfortunately, the added technology solved no real problem and added unnecessary complexity. Consumers found little appeal in a rock that blinked lights without any interactive or practical value. High production costs and confusing marketing failed to generate enthusiasm. Unlike the original pet rock, which thrived on simplicity and humor, the electronic version was seen as ridiculous. Its commercial failure exemplifies how adding technology to a concept doesn't guarantee success, especially when it removes the charm of the original. If digitalized fads failed, could ambitious DIY smart home kits capture the imagination of tech-savvy homeowners instead? Heathkit, known for DIY electronics, ventured into smart home technology in the 1970s with its home automation modules. These kits promised users control over lighting, heating, and appliances, a precursor to modern home automation. However, the systems were overly complex for the average consumer, requiring technical knowledge, soldering skills, and careful programming. Assembly errors could render the devices non-functional, and documentation was often confusing. While enthusiasts and electronics hobbyists appreciated the innovation, mainstream adoption was virtually non-existent. The kits were ahead of their time, but failed to account for user-friendliness. Despite commercial failure, Heathkit's automation modules foreshadowed modern, smart home technology, illustrating the difficulties of introducing advanced innovations without accessible design. The idea of harnessing the sun for portable entertainment seemed ideal in the 1970s, and early solar-powered radios appeared to answer the call. Unfortunately, the technology of the time was not up to the task. Weak solar cells provided inconsistent power, making the radios unreliable, especially on cloudy days. Users quickly grew frustrated with the constant need for supplemental batteries and the radio's limited volume and sound quality. While the concept was environmentally forward-thinking, it was simply impractical for daily use. These early solar-powered radios are remembered as ambitious but flawed experiments, illustrating the challenge of bringing sustainable energy solutions to consumer electronics before technology had sufficiently advanced.